At first sight, when I look at the page of Electronic Literature, Volume 1, I saw a lot of interesting works, but end up with stud poetry. It surprised me a lot when I read the introduction, because as a student of literature who also is interested at video games, it really captures my attention. It says that this work of electronic literature is about a game in which you have to become the best poet in order to gain money and win the game. It reminds me a lot of the game Solitary, because every word is in red or black color and it also has a card symbol on it. Also, you can see literary figures as Jean Maurice, Gérard de Nerval, Paul Valéry, Paul Verlaine, and Stéphane Mallarmé, but also in some games I saw Arthur Rimbaud and Charles Baudelaire names on players. That's very interesting because you can think about players as, I don't know, names like Mario or Carlos, something like that. But then you saw a lot of literary figures, and that's really interesting. Because of this, I choose a poet that I like to play, that is Alejandra Pizarnik. She is an Argentine poet. She's very famous. And then I think it's really different from all the works that we saw in class, because first it's a game, and that's new because we saw a lot of works of literary electronic literature that were like animations and that, but a game, we never saw a game before. And second is that it's just not the literary part as the story or the poem, is the fact that you also want to win the game. I think that it's important to say some details of the biography of Alejandra Pizarnik. She is an Argentine poet whose poems are known for their stifling sense of exile. She was born into a family of Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe. She attended University of Buenos Aires, where she studied philosophy and literature. Later, she ventured into painting, studying with the Catalan-Argentine painter Juan Batlle Planas. In '60, she moved to Paris, where she worked for French publishing houses and magazines. So she were in a lot of places, and she was a really important poet. She committed suicide and died in September of 1972. When you start the game, you saw four columns. One says poet, the other one money, stake, hand. You can also switch the speed to normal, fast, or slow. And also you have the possibility to, as like the same as a poker game, you can call, rise, bet, and check too. And also fold. But in terms of a literary piece, I think it's really simple. You have to form the strongest poem with 5 words, but it's not really that. The interface process is really easy to understand. In another works we saw in class were more complicated, as sometimes you don't know where to click, or it takes you to another part with the hypertext form that doesn't connect with the story you are reading. So here it's more like the game experience as a poker game, that the poem, that the meaning of the poem. So I played the game several times. I never get the chance to win because I really want to make an interesting poem with meaning. And then you saw that the best way to win is to choose the best cards as a poker game, not the best poem. So you will find in some words like think, echo, echo, vast in some kind of poem, or sweet, sweet infant sing. So they repeat a lot of words to make the poem that doesn't make any sense. It's just the best cards. So I think it's really hard to win So it almost all the time the computer wins. Then you feel frustrated because you want to win, but then you understand that it's a really simple game. It's not like it's seeking for the literary forms as a real poem with meaning that touch you with thoughts or feelings. Not, it's just really simple, but it's a really good work for a new way to discover what you can do with poetry and also with games. I think there's a great possibility that a lot of people that is now interested in literature will be also interested in develop this mix between games and poetry, because I never seen that before, and it's a really good thing to know that you can find this kind of works on the internet, and then you can also do something like that. So at the end of this experience, I I didn't win. As you can see, Paul Valery wins, but it was a really good and interesting work of electronic literature. I I think that is very different from everything we saw in class before, but it's a really nice thing that you can search in volume 1 or volume 2 for a lot of works, because I really enjoy this kind of work and talk about this work too. So as a conclusion, I will say that it's a really interesting piece for the combination of a game and poetry, but as a literary piece, I don't think it's really important, because it doesn't have like a real poem. It's just like a game, and it's like poker game. So that's like a experience more than a real literature work.